Back again, ladies and gentlemen. It's the peasant producer, the peasant prodigious producer. Proclamation, news and gammons with Professor Johnson. Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen. Um, Tuesday evening, the 22nd of September 2020. Got some more local news. I want more people to come on board. I'm trying to reach out to different constituencies, different areas, different societies, different sociological change for our environment. What makes differentials for our humanity. Thank you for coming through, whoever's listening. Could be the same person that was here earlier. I really appreciate you coming through. I don't know if you can hear me nice and clear. This is a bad statement in a local area, local constituency of Essex. It might not relate to all of you, but listen to this. I hate thieves. Thieves are the worst kind of people, kind of humanities. Absolute human excrement. Do you like thieves? You run your own business. Someone comes in your business and steals from you. I mean, you pay tax, you pay for all your income and expenditure, and you got thieves coming into your business, taking from your business, not paying. Dinners slammed for running away from Hotel Bill in Clapton. I mean, everyone's having a bad enough time as it is, trying to pay their bills and people trying to get free welfare, free society. You know, still, if if people suffering from alcoholism and narcotic abuse, that's why I keep pointing it out every day. It's an absolute. Imagine if you was a painter, for instance, you went and painted a job the whole day, and your person didn't pay you. The occupier of the house didn't pay you your wages for a day. He promised you £200 a day. And he didn't pay you after a day's work. You'd be distraught. A disappointed hotel and restaurant manager has slammed the selfish couple after reportedly racked up £100 food bill before making off without payment. It's in Clacton on Sea. Vicky Hart is the general manager of the Royal Hotel complex in Marine Parade East, Clacton, which also houses my Big Fat Greek Taverna eatery. According to Miss Hart, at about 6 p.m. on Tuesday, a young man and woman entered the restaurant before being seated at a table. Shocking news, isn't it? It's obviously been reported to the police station, local authorities, Essex and Clacton on Sea Police Station, and the Journal in the local newspaper. They proceed to indulge in an array of fancy alcoholic drinks and some of the menu's more luxurious items, such as T-bone steak. But what promised to be substantial earner for the local business, which is owned by Jason Smedley and housed NHS workers during the pandemic, actually ended leaving them out of pocket. After racking up their bill, they darted out the front door without paying, despite a short determined chase from Miss Hart. The couple has escaped. There's some other tragic news as well. Somewhere where my mum used to help out. She's a teacher assistant. Used to help out at school. Some tragic news there as well. Anyone in the Essex constituency, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. All over UK. It's happening globally as we speak. It's a big shot. I'm not going to go into detail just yet. We're going to get into it in a second. I don't want to ruin my formation, methodical correctness. I like to call methodical madness sometimes, but it's methodical correctness, absolutely. Ladies and gents, beneficial to subscribe. I'm coming up with all the latest devices, latest gadgets, the latest disturbance throughout society. What's going to affect us? Economic crisis, more COVID-19 cases, business closure. It's an economic crisis, absolutely. Public austerity, all things that affect not just me, all of us, even the government. German prosecutor in McCann case starts new rape investigation. Who remembers when McCann went missing? This is today's news. German prosecutor in McCann case starts new rape investigation. They reckon she's been raped and killed. They thought they had evidence who may have killed her. Hamburg Reuters, a German prosecutor trying to build a case against a suspect in the 2007 Disappearance of a 3-year-old Madeleine McCann in Portugal said on Tuesday he had opened an investigation into a reported rape of a young woman in the same year of 2004. So long ago, it's mad, isn't it? It's crazy how they still haven't got the evidence of that investigation. Absolutely shocked. I remember this as clear as day in the newspaper. The investigation into the girl's disappearance 13 years ago is now focused on a 43-year-old German identified as Christian B, named by the prosecutor in June. Madeline vanished from her bedroom on May the 3rd, 2007, during a family holiday in Algarve, while her parents dined with friends in the resort of Paris de Luz. In June, prosecutors in the German city of Braunschweig made a public appeal for clues to help find them concrete evidence against Christian B, who had been living in Algarve at the time and had a string of prior convictions. This relates to global news, doesn't it? This relates to global news. This was massive. It's out of this country, and it's massive news. It's massive, massive news. Why hasn't it been invested? Why has it taken this long to get to the bottom of it? It's crazy. Glad they're still looking, trying to find the reason. There's no answers, is there? People probably think, is she still alive? Was she, you know, she could have been stuck anywhere in the country. I'm not going to say what my next thing I'd come to thought, because it can come across as a fascist statement. So I'm keep that them thoughts to myself. I don't want to come across as a fascist by thinking could be here, could be there. Not always the case. Could be anywhere. Could be anywhere. Sick people in all over the world. On Tuesday, prosecutor said he had started his own investigation at the end of June into the case of young Irish woman after a victim spoke to British media about being raped at knife point nearby. The investigations are ongoing, said Hans Christian Walters, adding the case was not an extensive as Madeleine and not all the files from Portugal had been submitted. According to the Portuguese court documents seen by Reuters, Irish babysitter Hazel Behan, 20, reported to Portuguese police that she had been raped in June 2004. I mean, when you're doing these radio presenting, if you can read a lot of things in the media, I could come out with that same conquest as someone else and get myself shot in the process. I'll be careful how I speak about certain cultures and different things that societies, because you can have a slip of the tongue. It's just your head goes in what you see in the media, how people act. You really got to think before you speak. The victim woke up with a man she did not know wearing black gloves and a hood, standing next to her with a knife to her neck. Says the document. He raped her on a table and tied her up with rope. He took photographs of her hair and cut her clothes with scissors. The victim gave a physical description of the attacker and said he spoke English but sounded German, Belgian or Dutch. Christian B is in prison in Kiel, serving a sentence for drug dealing, but has been seeking parole. That's sick, sick, sick news, sick news, sickening. I've got another one here about Madeline, because we haven't got to the subject, have we? Same news, same news. Madeleine McCann, material evidence that missing girl is dead, said German prosecutors. German prosecutors have claimed that there is mortal evidence that Madeleine McCann is dead. This is today's update. I've been researching different things in society that I would want to tackle, I've typed, I've researched things that I want to find out. I've thought about this. I thought, did they ever find her? Did they find Madeleine McCann? It was in today's news. In today's news, did they find Madeleine McCann? And here's our answers. Speaking to Portugal broadcaster RTP on Tuesday, public prosecutor Hans Christian Walters said investigators had evidence that a British girl who was abducted from a holiday resort in Portugal 2007 has died. I'm just going to go, this is another report, not the same one, it's another one. Oh. When asked, there was material evidence that Madeleine who was 3 years old when she disappeared, is dead. Mr. Walter replied yes. However, he refused to elaborate when asked what evidence he had. Mr. Walters said in June he believed that Madeline was dead and had identified convict paedophile and rapist Christian Bruckner as a prime suspect in the case. Bruckner, who is currently serving a sentence for drug trafficking in North Germany, insists he was not involved in Madeline's disappearance. He is appealing against a conviction of rape in 2005. His lawyer, Frederick Fulcher, told the Sun on Monday he had proof that Bruckner was innocent and the German authorities had the wrong man. So this is another case. According to the newspaper, Mr. Walters, Mr. Walters admitted there was no smoking gun evidence against the suspect in an interview with Portuguese TV show Sexta as 9 last Friday. He said, "All I can say is this is like a puzzle, and there are many pieces that lead us to believe Christian B is responsible." In July, police searched an allotment in Germany near where Bruckner used to live. He formerly lived in both Hanover and Braunschweig, under an hour's drive from the allotment. It emerged last week that the police had been searching for computer memory sticks in the allotment, believed to have been used by the suspect, but prosecutors declined to say if any have been found, reported The Times. In 2006, police uncovered memory sticks during a separate search of a former factory 30 miles of Brunswick. The devices contain more than 8,000 files, including media files showing abuse of minors. Files also include about 100 pictures of Bruckner's parties, partly nude. Some people, my friend's got a big page on Facebook trying to tackle paedophiles on the line. How they get hold of these pictures? How they get hold of these pictures? How they get hold of these pictures on their phone through the internet? Why are these internet things not been shut down in the first place? How can you open a? I don't want to talk about it. It's shocking. This is supposed to be child-friendly radio cast and reading stuff like this. It's shocking. Absolutely doing a good job. That's all I can say. Shameful, but I hope so. That's all I can say. Anyway, it's going to be a short cast today. It's probably going to run on for about 20-25 minutes. I've got I've got a few memos that I want to, talk to you with. I'm like a bit of a motivational mover, motivational speaker. I want to inspire people, not expire. People coming there thinking he's just saying the news. He ain't got much going. He's got no vision. I've got vision. I've got explanatory as well. Lebanon explosion destroys Hezbollah arms depot. And a big explosion in southern Lebanon has destroyed what security sources said was Hezbollah arms depot. The blast sent a huge plume of black smoke into the air above the village of Ain Qwana, which is a stronghold that the militant Shia Islamist movement. Ambulances rushed to the scene amid unconfirmed reports of several wounded. One security source said the blast was caused by a technical error, although the state news agency noted that it coincided with Israeli overflights. The Israeli military did not comment on the incident. This is international politics, global news. Try to reach all different occupants around the globe, not just UK, not just local. We're mixing it up, trying to get more people involved. Lebanese army said in a statement that the explosion occurred at about 3 p.m. local time, 12 GMT, in a building in Ain Qwana. Instantly, an army force arrived at the site and launched an investigation into the cause of the blast, it added. There was also no immediate comment from Hezbollah, although the group's TV channel Al Manar said the explosion happened one in Al Qana's house and that cause was unknown. It added no casualties were reported. The Wall Street Journal cited an official with Hezbollah's media unit as the blast happened at the centre where explosives for months of the 2006 war between Hezbollah and Israel were stored. An AFP news agency photographer said Hezbollah cordoned off the scene. The explosion further rattled a country that is still trying to recover from the devastating blast in Beirut last month, which killed almost 200 people. The disaster, which is still under investigation, happened when a fire triggered the detonation of 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate that had been stored unsafely. We're going to look at level 4 you know, in Essex. Coronavirus, new COVID restrictions could last 6 months, says Boris Johnson. So looking about March next year, aren't we? I believe. October, November, December, January, February, March. Yeah, March next year. What a guess. UK has reached a perilous turning point. Prime Minister Boris Johnson has said, as he set out a raft of new coronavirus restrictions for England, which could last up to 6 months. Shop staff will have to wear face masks and weddings will be limited to a maximum of 15 people under the rules. Fines for breaking laws and gatherings and not wearing a mask will increase to £200 for the first offence. It also warned significantly greater restrictions could come if necessary. Mr Johnson said similar steps would be taken across the UK. He met with leaders of Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland on Tuesday morning. Like England, Scotland's Minister Nicola Sturgeon also announced that 10 p.m. curfew on hospitality businesses. The same measures also come into force in Wales on Thursday. But Mr Sturgeon went further. England on restrictions, banning a visitor and other household indoors. It comes to a number of UK cases rose by 4,926 on Tuesday. Government figures showed with deaths increasing by 37. Speaking in the House of Commons, the Prime Minister told MPs, we also knew that while we might have driven the virus into retreat, the prospect of a second wave was real. I'm sorry to that, as in Spain and France and many other countries, we reached a previous turning point. Mr Johnson said the new rules were carefully judged to achieve the maximum reduction in the R number, which measures how quickly the virus is spreading, while causing the minimum damage to lives and livelihoods. But he said this by no means a return to the full lockdown in March, with no general restrictions to stay at home. Business, schools, colleges and universities will remain open. In the last fortnight, hospital admissions have doubled, and COVID-19 is likely to spread faster in winter. Mr Johnson said, adding, so this is the moment when we must act. If these restrictions fall in to bring the R number below 1, the point where epidemic is no longer growing, then we will reserve the right to deploy greater firepower with significantly greater restrictions, he said. Mr Johnson said, we will spare no effort on developing vaccines, treatments, new forms and mass testing, but unless we rapidly make progress, we'll assume that the restrictions that I have announced will remain in place for perhaps 6 months, which is March, not February, even though in September, at the end of September, before anyone sits there trying to criticise or make judgment. Many people do. Officer workers are being told to work from home if possible. Penalties for not wearing a mask or gathering groups of more than 6 increased to 200 on the first offence. From Thursday, 24th September, all pubs, bars and restaurants will be restricted to table service only. Takeaways can continue. Also Thursday, hospitality venues must close at 10, which means shutting them. Not calling for last orders in Scotland, and the same curfew rule comes into force on Friday. Face coverings must be worn by taxi drivers, passengers for Wednesday. Retail staff and customers, indoor hospitality venues will also have to wear masks on Thursday, except when seated at tables to drink. From Monday, 28th September, only 15 people can attend weddings and civil partnerships in groups of 6. Funerals can take place with up to 30 people. Also, for the 28th of September, you can only play indoor sports in a group of less than 6. The planned return of spectators, sports, venues will not go ahead from 1st of October. Mr Johnson also said the government would provide police and local authorities in England with extra funding to enforce the regulations, with an option to draw on military support. Rules and under review, restating her account for people working from home. Scotland First Minister also announced her government might impose a legal duty on employers to allow home working. Ms Sturgeon said enforcement of coronavirus rules for the public in Scotland was under review, but added supporting people to do the right thing is much more effective than threatening harsh punishment if they cannot. The First Minister also said the new restriction on visiting other households would be reviewed every 3 weeks and stressed they would not necessarily be in place for as long as 6 months. New restrictions in England amount to little more than tinkering around the edges. Last week, there was talk of mini lockdowns and circuit breaks, but with hospital admissions and deaths still low, there is now a window of opportunity to see what impact the new measures will have. While rapid growth put forward by the government's chief pandemic advisor Monday, the cases could reach 50,000 and day by midday is unlikely to be realised. According to many, the chances are infection rates will continue to climb. This is a virus which can be transmitted silently. People are infectious before symptoms develop, while some do not even develop any. And we are entering the time of year where respiratory illness circulate more and deaths start to increase. If when this happens, the government will need to decide how far it is prepared to go. The same applies to the rest of the UK nation, despite the tighter restrictions there on visiting people's homes. A full lockdown is highly unlikely, but more significant steps such as closing hospitality venues, leisure facilities and curbing everyday activities from playing sport and travelling around the country remains options. But the horrible question that will be asked is how much economic pain, disruption and damage to wider wealth and well-being is worth the lives that are at risk. Though the really tough calls are still to come. Like I was saying earlier, I've said time and time again, when you wash your hands, you put your mask on. Some of you might just be arrogant. You know, you're not exempt. The doctor hasn't said you're exempt to wear your mask. You know, you've got nothing really mentally wrong there. You've got no impairment to make you disabled or make you exempt. When you put your mask on, you wash your hands. You know, you put infectant on your hands or, you know, the sanitizer. When you put it on your hands, don't do it for yourself. Think of the others. Treat others how you'd like to be treated. Because there are people with COVID. So imagine someone coming to your household with COVID-19, especially these really arrogant people that are being abruptive towards security guards, shop assistants. They're only asking them to get a mask politely. No need to, you know, no need to get abruptive back on them. So them people that are doing that, I hope someone with COVID-19 walks in your house and makes you realise what an idiot you are. I know it sounds harsh and irrational, but that's how people need to be spoken to make it rattle their cage, realise they're actually making themselves look stupid and risking other people's lives. It's disabled people that can't defend themselves. There's children that can't defend themselves. There's older OAPs that can't defend themselves. Their immune system is low. And you're making it worse. There's no need for it. Be polite. I say be kind and be the same as ladies as well. No need to be abruptive. Think of the consequences of others, not just yourself. Bear with me 2 seconds. Like I said, I'm a bit of an influencer, so I'm going to try and influence what I want to influence. I want to influence the audience, not giving up. I said earlier. Oh, I'm going to have to go, ladies. I've got a call. Might be important. Oh, no. Someone's just playing games. It wasn't nothing major. Someone's playing games. Someone watching in. Probably someone, you know, jealous. Just watching in and giving me a call, whatever reason. I don't know. So, a 4.0 high school student, Natalie Portman, once said She'd rather be smart than a movie star. Pullman graduated with a bachelor's degree in psychology from Harvard in 2003. She is fluent in Hebrew and studied French, Japanese, German, and Arabic. She's been published twice. She's been published twice in scientific journals and in 2006 appeared at Columbia to guest lecture on terrorism and counter-terrorism. Think smart, nothing is impossible, and everything can be accomplished if you approach each task with the possibility to establish and engage your brain. Each brain, male and female, works the same. Science reports suggest as this. Have wisdom, make goals, choose passion, receive pride, wisdom and knowledge. Be prosperous when no prosperity matters. Nothing is impossible. Everything's possible if you work hard at it. Proclamation moves and gathers, ladies and gents. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Jen. I did see you there. Hope you're well, girl. It was a short while. I'm on my cast box as well. I'm just going to come off my way to take this phone call and hope to catch up with you. Catch up with you the next few days. Definitely let me know when you're streaming, girl, and I'll come say hello. Thank you all for coming through to PNG. Appreciate your time, Jen, and whoever else is in. Appreciate it. Thank you. God bless. Speak soon. Take care.